Namaskar. Often during drawing room discussion, these two questions are asked, even after 3 decades, why support for terrorism has failed to diminish in Kashmir Valley. And second is that large number of troops are deployed, why they have failed to completely wipe out terror from this region. Answer to these two questions lies in these two explanations. Explanation number one, we have trigger-happy neighbor like Pakistan that keeps on pushing terrorists into this side of the border and pumping arms and ammunition. And these terrorists shower bullets and trigger explosions to spill blood of innocent Kashmiris. But second explanation is really shocking. In any part of the world, patriots are getting pat on their back for their Desh Bhakti. But here in Kashmir, story is completely opposite. Here, patriots are punished and terrorists are glorified. Those who stood against terror, they were basically ostracized and perpetrators were pampered. That is unfortunately story of Kashmir Valley. And for that, nobody else but Kashmir-centric netas are to be blamed. They are the one who provided oxygen to ecosystem of terror by playing competitive soft separatism so that they can keep their chair intact. Lust for power led these politicians empower separatists and encourage secessionist element in Kashmir Valley. But political will shown by Prime Minister Narendra Modi after abrogation of Article 370 and decisive action taken by Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has led to transformational shift. Today here in this episode of Line of Communication, I, Pradeep Dutta, will be discussing about how certain measures that have been taken by Manoj Sinha in recent past is going to bring in positive change and also lead to winds of change in near future in this region. And I'm going to explain you how it is really going to empower patriots and it's going to break backbone of terror-related activities in Kashmir Valley. To further explain and simplify things, let me tell you, Kashmir Society is categorized into 4 segments. 1. Silent majority. It comprises 80% of Kashmir's population. They are the one who are mostly unheard. They are totally against terrorism. They are not in favor of Pakistan or its agenda. Then there is a vocal minority. It comprises 10% of population. They are the one who project and portray India in bad light. They are the one who demonize security forces. They are the one you will find them on social media. They are the one who have captured the media also in real sense. And it appears as if this is the only voice of Kashmir Valley, but that is not the reality. And then there is Mazhabi section that comprises 5% of population. They are the one who are driven by religious ideology, a radicalized lot, brainwashed lot. And then there is 5% is the Matlabi segment. They are the opportunist lot. They always go with the power. They keep on switching their loyalties. But unfortunately, if you really want to understand complexities of Kashmiri society, you have to understand these 4 segments. Problem had been that all these years, silent majority remained silent because they were never heard. And then only 2 segments that our netas had been focusing on, both in Delhi as well as in Jammu and Kashmir. This was either vocal minority or that Matlabi section, because Matlabi section were able to form a coterie around that ruling class. And this coterie never ever allowed those netas to see real picture or get connected with real masses there on the ground. And that's one of the reasons that there had been alienation, because there was always a kind of a disconnect between netas, elected class, as well as people. And then vocal minority, because everybody tried to appease this vocal minority, because they wanted to pamper them, they wanted to appease them, they wanted to ensure that they are everywhere. And the part of vocal minority had been people like Yasin Malik, the person responsible for killing of squadron leader Ravi Khanna, person responsible for abducting Ruqayya Saeed, daughter of then Home Minister Mufti Muhammad Saeed. And he was the same person who was projected as Mahatma Gandhi, Messiah of Peace. And he was provided platform and podium not only in Delhi, but also in different parts of the world where he used to preach peace. That's really unfortunate and laughable. This can happen only in India. Not only that, there had been people like Shabir Shah, who always favored independence of Kashmir Valley, who preached secessionism, but he was projected as Nelson Mandela. And he often used to move freely from one part of Jammu and Kashmir to different parts of India. And then we have seen people like Sayyid Salahuddin, the person who has hands soaked in blood. He had 7 children. All of them got government job. 5 of their sons were in government job. 2 daughters, they were teachers. So a person who is involved in terror-related activity is a globally designated terrorist because he's a part of that vocal minority. So he was heard and everybody was trying to keep them in good humor. Then there was a person like Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, who was again advocating merger of Jammu and Kashmir with Pakistan. So what really we did here in India, everybody tried to ensure that what Gilani used to say, that is to be heard. But nobody ever tried to feel pulse of that silent majority, what actually silent majority in Kashmir Valley really wanted. But now things are really going to change. I think Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has taken a very historic and groundbreaking decision. He has decided to provide job to terror victim family. And 250 people have so far been provided job, and more applications will be taken care of in coming weeks. And what is more important is that this is really going to empower patriots, and this is going to break backbone of terror-related activities and all those terror sympathizers. Because now the message has been sent loud and clear that now it means justice, and justice will be delivered only if these patriots are taken care of. Because they were not heard, they were completely ostracized. And now, while I'm talking to you, many of you people will simply try to brush aside this as sarkari propaganda. But before taking any decision or jumping to any kind of a conclusion, listen to the voice of this man, this young boy.
मेरा नाम जुनैद अली मल्ला है, मैं अनंतनाग डिस्ट्रिक्ट से बिलोंग करता हूँ। आज से कई साल पहले मेरे फादर साहब जो कि पुलिस में एक एसपीओ के पोस्ट पे तैनात थे, ऑन ड्यूटी वो अपनी ड्यूटी के दौरान टेररिज्म जिसको हम दहशतगर्दी के शिकार बने और ऑन स्पॉट वो शहीद हो गए। आई वॉज 3 years old। तब से आज तक न किसी ने मदद की, न किसी ने हाथ थामा, न किसी ने सर पे हाथ रखा। तब से आज तक मैं 20 साल का हूँ, किसी ने कोई मदद नहीं की, मतलब कोई उम्मीद भी नहीं थी। मैं कभी कभार अपनी माँ से कहता था कि मेरे बाप की जो सेक्रीफाइस है ये ज़ाया है। मतलब हमारे घर में ऐसा माहौल बना कि मैं अपने आप को बोझ समझ रहा था कि मेरे बाप ने गलती की, सीरियसली बता रहा हूँ। लेकिन आज मेरी लाइफ में मैं जब से बड़ा हुआ हूँ तब से मैंने स्ट्रगल देखा। आज पहली बार अपनी लाइफ में मैं प्राउड फील कर रहा हूँ कि मैं एक शहीद का बेटा हूँ।
What he's saying, when he was offered the job letter, what he had to say, because this man continued to suffer. His father was special police official who fought against terrorism. He lost his life. He took bullets on his body. He stood like a rock because he wanted to see tricolor fluttering, because he was there for motherland India. But for all these years, they were completely ignored. What can be more fortunate? Instead, the family members of the killer, the next of the kin, got government job. So when he was offered that job letter, he said, for the first time, I feel that I am son of a proud martyr. I feel proud about the sacrifice of my father, because all these years I have felt that sacrifice of my father has really gone waste for motherland India, because nobody ever tried to listen to their plight. There had been several cases where even a small patch of land was not provided for the burial of those people, because they were dubbed as collaborators. They were dubbed as informers. They were the one who had provided information to the security forces about presence of terrorists, because they wanted peace and prosperity in this region. See how they were treated. And while as the terrorist killers who had been responsible for killing innocent Kashmiris, the processions used to be taken out, a gun salute was given, thousands of people used to be part of those processions. But everything has been put to an end, because This is the change that has taken place after abrogation of Article 370. Question that people are asking, what has really changed? This has really changed. No more gun salutes, no more processions, and no more graveyard for these so-called terrorists. Because these terrorists are responsible for death and destruction here in this region. The government has decided that they will not have any graveyard for them. They will be buried somewhere near the line of control because they deserve to be at a place where they should have been kept long back. But unfortunately, they were made heroes. So no more government wants any kind of a mazar for these terrorists. So that's why the strong decision have been taken. They are going to provide jobs. They are going to provide financial assistance. And not only that, Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has decided that they are going to open up cases so that the family members get justice. Who were responsible for killing these people? Who were responsible for targeting these patriots, these Desh Bhakts? So that message is sent loud and clear that no more awards and rewards for the pelted army. If anybody is to be rewarded and awarded, and they are patriots who are there for Bharat Mata. Now let me tell you key highlights of this recent decision that has been taken by Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha. One, the government jobs will be provided to terror victims. Over 250 appointment letters have been handed over to the families of terror victims in Srinagar and Baramulla district. A rehabilitation scheme. The scheme focuses on granting government jobs to the next of the kin of those killed in terror-related incidents, while also offering financial aid for economic stability. Helplines for victims. Helplines have been set up in all districts to register grievances of terror victims, with hundreds of complaints received, included cases from 1990s. And then there will be transparency and accountability. The government promises transparency and accountability in implementing the scheme to ensure that only genuine victims are supported. This is really very important. Why I'm saying this is really very important. Why I'm saying this is really very important? Because while I'm talking to you, many people will argue that there used to be SR of 43. Yes, there was SR of 43, but there was no accountability and transparency. Many a time the genuine cases were not considered. And many a time it was the terrorist family and next of the kin who were part of the terror infrastructure. They were provided government job. They were the one who were inducted into the government machinery. So what really happened? That way we only encourage terror-related elements. So that is where actually this policy is going to make a difference, because they are going to open up cases. Because during the course of investigation, Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has found that how difficult survival for these families was. There had been several families where the mothers had to do menial job, or they had to beg to keep kitchen fires stoked. That was the problem they were facing. The price of Desh Bhakti they had to pay in Kashmir. But all these netas, they turned blind eye to those problems. They never spoke for them. They spoke for the Yasin Malik. They spoke for Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, but they never ever spoke for them. They spoke for stone pelters. And we have often seen that how Mehbooba Mufti used to thump her chest for the stone pelters. She's the same chief minister who said that had she been knowing that Burhan Wani was trapped, she would never ever would have allowed that operation to take place, because she wanted to save people like Burhan Wani, the man who is responsible for killing, the man who had been responsible for brainwashing and indoctrinating young minds and making them join gun culture. What we have seen in recent past. Let me again explain you why this policy is a game changer. Let me explain you. You people should know what used to happen in Jammu and Kashmir. In 2004, Mufti Muhammad Saeed brought surrender policy. Surrender policy was like, again, it was trying to rehabilitate terrorists. That means, one, you pick up gun, you kill Kashmiris, and then we are going to rehabilitate you. We are going to provide you money. If you surrender with a gun, you will get 10,000 rupees. If you surrender with the rocket launcher, you'll get 5,000 rupees. If you surrender with the grenade, you'll get 3,000 rupees. So that was a kind of a surrender policy. And what really happened? Those who surrendered later on, many of those surrendered militants, they joined terror ranks. They started supporting terrorists. And we have seen that there have been several recycled terrorists right now operating in Kashmir Valley. And then again, We saw that few years later, Omar Abdullah came up with another surrender terror policy, where many of the terrorists who were in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, they wanted to come back. He said that you can come back from different points. They refused to come back from Nepal. They said that this will be very difficult for them. Their argument was that ISL will get to know them about that, that they want to surrender and go back to Jammu and Kashmir. So they will be targeted. But the reality was that basically they never ever wanted Pakistan to get exposed, because this would have exposed Pakistan. That see how the Pakistan had been providing arms training to these terrorists, because Pakistan always maintains one line that they had been only providing moral support to Jammu and Kashmir. They are nowhere involved in any kind of terror-related activities. But what really we achieved, even after having these two surrender policies? None of them, many of them who came along with their wives and children, those Pakistani wives and children that settled back in Jammu and Kashmir after killing so many people, being part of those terror infrastructure, they never ever preached peace. None of them ever said that how the Pakistan is using them as cannon fodder. They never ever stopped Kashmiri youth from picking up gun. So why we had been provided this kind of a platform to these Kashmiris? This is what actually a patriotic Kashmiris will ask. What kind of nationalism you are preaching? There is a man who is taking bullets on his body. But what is happening? A man who is taking bullets on body, he is being punished, he is being ostracized. They are not even getting a small patch of land for burial. On the other hand, you are trying to rehabilitate those surrendered terrorists. The terrorists who picked up gun, who killed people, you are providing them money. But now, Modi government, Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, they have put full stop on incentivization of terror. No more there is a premium on separatist activity, because they have taken strong steps, and some of these strong measures are that they have taken in recent past and during the last 5 years of his rule is one, they decided that Syed Salahuddin's son, a globally designated terrorist who were into government job, they need to be booted out. Let me tell you what actually the previous government did. They provided job to whom? They provided job to Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani's grandson. He was provided job in Sher Kashmir International Convention Center. And this is the same place where all the security related meetings used to take place. That means by providing job to Sayyid Ali Shah Gilani, the person who is trying to break India, and you simply wanted to install a CCTV camera and with the monitor at Gilani's residence, so that Gilani gets to know what is really happening or what decisions are being taken in the meeting. So why you want to plant such people at such strategic locations where those security meetings are being held? Many a times, Home Minister also chaired a meeting there in SKICC, which is now called International Convention Center. So why to install that person? But the best decision was taken by Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha. What he did, he uprooted that CCTV camera. He sacked that person. So why he should get a job? I once asked this question to former Chief Minister Farooq Abdullah. I said, why you gave medical seat to Syed Salahuddin's son? He said that there was a pressure from somewhere else. He was hinting at some of the agencies, Indian agencies, and from the center. So Farooq Abdullah is not only to be blamed for that. I think governments in the center then are also to be blamed for the policies, those pro-terror policies. Because that way, what they achieved, Syed Salahuddin never surrendered. Neither he stopped any of those terror-related activities. And instead, one genuine Kashmiri, a meritorious student, was denied that medical seat. And instead, that medical seat was given to terrorist's son, and he was made doctor. And what our security forces are made to do? One of the Syed Salahuddin's son, who was trapped in EDI building where he is an employee, we made our commander lose job because we wanted to save Syed Salahuddin's son. And many other people who were trapped inside the building held as human shield. So that was the policy of the government of India, and that was the policy of the government of Jammu and Kashmir. But things have really changed. I think why I'm telling all these things, people who ask one question, that what has really changed after abrogation of Article 370, This has really changed after abrogation of Article 370, because all those people who were supposed to fight against terror, men in uniform, men in police force, who were helping terrorists, they were booted out. People who were supposed to provide, channelize energy of youth in right direction. I'm talking about teachers. But instead of teaching, they were preaching terror-related activities in classroom. They were trying to brainwash youngsters and making them join terror-related activities. So those teachers were shunted out. That's what this governor did. An important step that was taken was that same Pratap Park, where we have seen in the past several processions used to take place, anti-India procession. But now there is a memorial coming up, because on that memorial, name of all those martyrs who sacrificed life for the country is etched here, because that is going to inspire many more youngsters in Kashmir Valley. We have seen that there was a time when either ISIS flag was waved or either Pakistani flag was waved. Now on 15th August, you will find that how those youngsters will be coming to Lal Chowk and they will be waving tricolor. And that is a positive change. Because earlier in schools during assembly prayers, hardly anybody used to sing Lab pe aati hai dua ban ke tamanna meri, Ae Malik tere bande hum. And nobody used to sing national anthem. But now national anthem is reverberating in different nook and corner of Jammu and Kashmir. And when in formative years, you tell your children that, see, this is your Tiranga, this is your national anthem, and definitely you are going to sow the seeds of strong patriotism in hearts and minds of those youngsters of Kashmir Valley. In coming years, there's going to be a generational shift. But people, those who really understand, deliberately they are turning a blind eye to that. It's easy to wake up people who are sleeping, but it's very difficult to wake up people who pretend to sleep. And I think the people who are questioning that what has really changed after abrogation of Article 370, they belong to the second sect of society, because they pretend to sleep. They know there has been change, but they do not want to see that change. Because when they will start accepting that change, that means they will start accepting the good work that has been done by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, and Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha here. In another episode, I am going to bring more issues related to Kashmir Valley and expose all those elements who had been providing oxygen to ecosystem of terror. They wanted that terror-related activities to continue. They wanted spill of innocent blood to be splattered on streets of Kashmir Valley, because they wanted their vote bank politics to remain intact, because their heart was never ever beating for Kashmiris. It was only lust of cheer that kept them going. Namaskar.